You think it's bad luck, that things just don't work out for you. Opportunities don't come. Things don't go your way. You try, and somehow it fails. So you tell yourself, maybe I'm just unlucky. It sounds harmless, almost comforting, because if it's luck, then it's not your fault. But that's not what's happening. You're not unlucky. You're predictable, and that's worse. Because luck is random. Predictability isn't. It means there's a pattern in your decisions, your reactions, your habits. And patterns create outcomes, not once, repeatedly. Look at your life, honestly. Not the highlights, not the excuses, the reality. Same problems, same cycles, same results. Different days, same ending. That's not bad luck. That's repetition. You keep doing the same things in slightly different ways, expecting a different result. But your behavior hasn't changed. So why would your life? That's the part you avoid. Because if it's not luck, then it's you. And that's uncomfortable. Because now there's responsibility. Now there's no external reason to hide behind. Just your actions. The small ones. The daily ones. The ones no one sees. That's where your life is actually built. Not in big moments. In quiet patterns. Like what you do when no one's watching. When you have time, but choose distraction. When you have a chance, but choose comfort. When you feel resistance and choose to avoid. Those moments, they repeat, and repetition becomes identity. Now it's not something you do, it's who you are. The person who delays, the person who avoids, the person who never fully commits. That identity creates predictability. So your future isn't random. It's just a continuation of your patterns. That's why things feel the same, because they are. You haven't changed anything real, just small surface level adjustments. But deep down, the behavior is identical. Avoid when it's hard, delay when it matters, distract when it gets uncomfortable. So the result stays the same. And then you call it bad luck. But it's not. It's consistency. Just not the kind you want. You're consistently avoiding growth, consistently choosing comfort, consistently repeating the same mistakes. And consistency always wins. That's why discipline works, but also why failure repeats. Because whatever you do consistently becomes your reality. Right now, you're consistent in the wrong direction, and it shows. Not dramatically, subtly. You feel it in moments, when you realize nothing changed, when you see someone doing what you avoided, when you think about your life and it feels stuck. That's not random. That's awareness. Your mind recognizing the pattern. But recognition isn't enough, because you already see it. You just don't break it. Why? Because breaking a pattern is uncomfortable. It requires doing something different, something harder, something unfamiliar. And your brain resists that. Not because it wants you to fail, because it wants stability. Even if that stability is keeping you stuck. So it pushes you back to what's known, back to what's easy, back to what you've always done. And you listen because it feels safe. That's how predictability strengthens. Every time you choose the familiar, you reinforce it. Every time you avoid change, you confirm it, until eventually it becomes automatic. You don't think about it, you just repeat it. And then you wonder why nothing changes. But something is changing. You're becoming more of the same, more predictable, more consistent, and staying exactly where you are. That's the danger, not failure. Stability in the wrong direction. Because once that locks in, breaking out becomes harder. Not impossible, but harder. Because now you're not just changing actions, you're changing identity. And identity resists change. It wants to stay the same. So it tells you, this is just how you are. You're not disciplined. You're not consistent. And you believe it because it matches your behavior. But your behavior created that belief, not the other way around. You weren't born this way. You became this way through repetition, which means you can change it, but not by thinking, not by understanding, by doing something different, consistently. And that's the part most people don't do, because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel easy. But neither does staying stuck. You just got used to it. That's the truth. You adapted to a life you don't want, and now it feels normal. But normal doesn't mean right. It just means repeated. So if you keep repeating the same behavior, you already know what happens. Nothing changes. Not next week, not next month, not next year. Because your future is just your present, repeated. That's predictability. And that's where you are. Not unlucky, predictable. And until you break that, nothing else will change.